Welcome back. We're back with even more coverage here at the European World Championship qualifier here in Berlin for 2024. We're already into our top cut. In front of me, I have our two duelists for our top 64 feature match. And we're ready to get this underway as we speed towards whoever is going to be crowned the European champion. In front of me, I have Tai and Yannis R, who are ready to take on this top 64 bout. Gentlemen, we are going to do a high roll to see who's going to go first. Who would like to roll first? Okay, Ty's going to roll there, and that's a 10. Yannis is going to roll and gets a 6. Who's going to go first? Ty, you're going to go first? Okay, Ty is going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to Nadir, Leo, and Basti, who are going to be your commentary trio for this top 64 feature match. Guys, we're in the top cut. It's getting exciting.
Finally, let's get to the good part of the event. The top card is going to start right now. Top 64 duelists have advanced to the knockout stages of this very tournament. 64 duelists still have the dream to go to the World Championships.
Only 4 of them are going to go, but they're on their way. First step on the journey taken. Secured the spot in top 64. Some of them went undefeated. Most of them had to take a couple of losses. From here on, no more losses allowed, I would say, because from here on, knockout stages, as we were just mentioning.
Yep, single elimination time. The dream is alive. Our players are ready, and we are about to get this underway. Top 64, Berlin, Germany, European Championship 2024. It's time to duel.
Actually, I just said 64 duelists have the dream remaining to go to the World Championships. However, the first person after Swiss is already qualified. So what happens when he gets to top 4?
We're going to think about that later on if it comes to that. First of all, we're going to focus, though, on Tai and Yannis on the other side. And Yannis realizes what's going on here.
Combo.
Because that is a set 5 and a pass by Tree. And the community is loving it. Tree from Berlin, not from Berlin, but from Germany at the very least. So, of course, having the local crowd supporting him here.
Set 5, feeling spry as we get played back over to Yannis here, who is playing Ubel. We've got the spiritual gates to get a Dark Beckoning Beast for the normal summon to then add a 0 attack monster. Do we have an immediate response coming down here from Tai as we have our Ubel combo ready to play? And did we draw any continuous trap cards? How will we be disrupting this? The Ubel deck a little less resilient compared to Snake Eye. And is it going to be able to take down 5 set cards?
I'm quite curious as to how Trichai is going to play this out, actually, because if he has a simultaneous equation cannon, is he going to let his opponent play into it first, then try to deal as much damage with it basically as possible, and then rely on the other traps to basically close out the turn?
Yeah, very good point. I mean, it's the conundrum of the hand traps as well sometimes. Do you let your opponent commit, wait for specific choke points, or do you try and cut them off early? Well, we've got a summon of Samsara the Lotus.
But destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. It feels like every move now in Top Cut from here on will be celebrated by the crowd, because that Daruma Karma Cannon really looking good, being able to set both monsters there for Yannis, and he just has to live with that for a year now.
Yeah, don't forget as well, you can contact fuse with face down, so maybe at an absolute minimum we could have a Phantom being summoned at least. But yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic start. Immediately booking 2 monsters means that Yannis is basically going to have to have drawn Throne or Pain.
Oh, but he's passing it over. That was enough. And now in the end phase, we can go Welcome Labyrinth.
Blossom.
But Solemn Strike to protect the Welcome Labyrinth, and it will resolve. So Tritai not only preventing the entire turn from Yannis, but also getting into his own engine now.
Oh, that's a lady we've got. So that means we have another trap card for Big Welcome, most likely.
That is so good. Chaining the lady to it, actually getting access to the Big Welcome as well. Now we can build up resources again. I was just going to say, we invested 3 trap cards. We only have 1 monster. Can we stop another turn after that? But now that we have both the welcomes in play, we're going to be able to establish our own field again.
I will say that once Labyrinth gets rolling like this, after you pass and you can't push through that 5 back row, they accumulate advantage so much here. For example, Lady here gets a free normal trap card from the deck, and then the Lovely is going to take a card away, and then on the following turn, Lovely gets to reset Big Welcome or any other normal trap from your graveyard. So the snowball keeps rolling and expanding. There we go, bouncing out the Lady. Resolution, a card has been returned. That means we get to destroy something. Now, destroying against Ubel is
That's
a
what I
little
was about
bit,
to ask. Are we going after the hand? Oh, that's
We
bold.
are,
That's
okay.
a bold call. Is there a Ubel to be
Is it
destroyed?
Ubel? Nibiru! Okay. Unfortunately for Yannis, has gotten the draws of some of the lesser optimal cards in this specific matchup. Of course, main decking to try and beat Snake Eye or the Mirror match, but that's why Labyrinth has been a very formidable anti-meta pick, because so many of these hand traps don't do much against your deck except specifically Ash Pulse, but that's okay. We had Solemn Strike, didn't we?
Yes, and Nibiru, funnily enough, can only be activated when 5 summons have been done in one turn, and Tritai is not even playing 5 monsters.
I don't think this version of Labyrinth can summon 5 times even if it wanted to.
Very, very tough. That's true. So Tritai in a perfect situation. Starting off here in the first round of Top Cut. Now even going after set monsters here. Are we just trying to maybe seal it here this turn?
Yeah,
I could see it, honestly.
I think we're trying to accumulate advantage
Makes
here,
sense.
getting the Welcome to reset, 1 effect per turn, then destroying the monster, getting some damage here. Do we have a big Welcome? Yes, we do. Trap trick, and
we're
scoops
packing
it
up
up.
on cards. Tritai with a dream start here into the first round of Top Cut, taking down game number 1 here with a 5-minute super convincing Labyrinth turn there.
Who said trap decks are slow nowadays? We just summon 3 monsters that have 2,900 to 3,000 attack points, and that is always going to be enough for a game.
Absolutely, and yeah, his opponent, he went 11-1 in Swiss, which is such a strong record. But from here on, everyone is the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. Tritai barely slipped into the Top Cut by making it with X3. A couple of people made that.
Yeah, we did
but
have some X3s making it through, so trying to keep that dream alive as we have now hit Top Cut, because it doesn't matter what happened before. All it counts is what you do from this point onward. Yannis is on the back foot, however, and yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a tough position to come from, don't you think?
Absolutely, but I mean, Tritai really experienced with the deck. I can tell you, he, for example, also top German nationals with the deck, and even going way back. He has been playing this deck for maybe the last year. He really perfectionized it, and now he also adapted to the new situation, is running the new equation cannon and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to see him here in Top Cut.
I think he even played it over the pond, right? I remember him being in Top Cut of YCS Las Vegas in the Team YCS together with Steffen Eichelberger and Tom Kleinegräber, and there is a chance that he also played the Labyrinth strategy there.
Yeah, we can see that this Labyrinth list that came out of the WCQ has definitely defined Labyrinth gameplay.
Yeah.
We see a lot of tech cards here, like the Runic Flashing Fire, like the Simultaneous Equation Cannon, definitely becoming a centerpiece of the Labyrinth strategy. And it's been successful, as you can see. A lot of the Labyrinth players, even in the playoff matches, running similar lists.
Obvious centerpiece of his extra deck, of course, Dante the Traveler, Burning Abyss. Yeah, we're having a close look. It is in there, of course, because of the equation cannon being a handy rank 3. I don't think we're going to see it being summoned, but still a nice add-on.
Okay then.
I want to say that I really thought that Dinkabui was going to play this deck, because obviously he's very seasoned with Labyrinth, but he thought, hey, this is a very spicy deck that someone else invented? Nah, I can't have that.
Labyrinth is far too vanilla for Dinka at this point. That's why we're... He's also topped, if you're wondering, with the Magical Muskets.
Of course.
There's actually been... we were just having a look at some of the non-Snake Eye decks that had managed to make Top Cut. We'll have an official breakdown and chart for you to take a look at, hopefully for Top 32. But before then, it looks like our players are just about ready for this game number 2. Let's get back on over to the table and see how this Top 64 match will unfold.
We're seeing all of those really quick duels now, one after another. The last round of Swiss was also really quick, finished after basically 25 minutes, I think. And now this first game plus siding didn't even take 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, who needs...
But there's the Ash Blast of Paparulia. Tritai had one of his very few, very impactful going second cards there. But the Ash Blossom protects him, and he has the Nightmare Throne on top of that even. Wow.
And now, if that Purulia doesn't resolve, that is crucial for Labyrinth, because if you're going second, you really need every single card to play through a field.
Now, on the plus side, unless we've drawn multiple, Ash Blossom is one of the few hand traps that is really good against Labyrinth, so maybe you're happy that it's been traded out specifically for the Purulia. It means that your welcomes are going to be potentially forced through on the following turn here, but yeah, this is going to be an absolute ridiculously strong. This is going to be a nightmare turn. Yeah, hopefully we'll finally showcase for you. Actually, I think it was in one of the games that I didn't cast, but we did manage to see that full Yubel combo. And as you guys know, there is the argument of just how good Snake Eye is versus Yubel. Yubel, I think, offering the highest ceiling and just some of the craziest end fields we've seen, right?
Did I just see an Archfield Eccentric in the Yubel list?
Yeah, I was about to say his side deck is really, really stacked with cards that could be very favorable for this matchup, because he apparently built his entire side deck for the Labyrinth matchup. So, I mean, he will need it, because game 3, if it gets to that point, he will have to go second. But there's plenty of cards. I don't want to spoil it just yet, but
yeah, there's some really special cards there,
for
potentially.
real, man, for real. But there is, first of all, the Phantom of Yubel. Okay. And that is protecting against further monster effects. Not really that they would be expected against the Labyrinth deck here in that turn, but already good to have the Phantom of Yubel up on the field.
It's a nice little piece of the puzzle here that Yubel is showcasing for you all. The ability to go into a monster negate very, very quickly before committing to your big combos. It can't be understated just how powerful of a utility that has in the deck here as we sequence through, sequence with our new Necroquip Princess, allowing you to use it as a one-card fusion fodder with the equipped monster. Going for the sequence fusion summon, gonna go and get out Lacrima now. Oh, actually, Aerial Eater, of course. Yeah, no,
first of all,
that is the loop of Yubel, utilizing both of the new world premiere fusion monsters for the deck.
So this card way more popular in the Yubel strategy than it is in the Snake Eye strategy, right? We saw very few Snake Eye players running it, but in Yubel, it's almost a staple, I want to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I suppose one of the shortcomings about having such a powerful utility fusion is that the Yubel extra deck has gotten super tight over the course of the last this last set. Still making room for Almiraj, which is surprising. You know, there's just a lot of tools here that sometimes you can be missing, but he's actually found space for Muckraker as well. Sometimes that's one of the cards that has to go to make way for this huge Fiendsmith extra deck. No Desiree, I suppose, is one of the sacrifices we've made.
There's a Desiree in there.
Oh, we also have Desiree. Are we playing just 20 extra deck cards? How are we putting this all in here?
I mean, actually, interesting enough, there is Desiree, but on the other hand, there is no Lacrima.
Oh, it's the other way around. Okay, interesting. Yeah, maybe I guess you just don't need Lacrima. I suppose there's no burn win condition, I think, for Yubel now, right?
Not really, no. That's true.
So if you ever end up in a time situation, I'm sure that's a card you would definitely miss here. But yeah, going through our combos here on Yannis' side, completely uninhibited. The Mulch Army, of course, was negated by the Ash Blossom, so no draws. Although sometimes there are some hands in Yubel that don't give your opponent any draws.
That's true. And now we went over into the Unchained part of our deck. And honestly, I mean, the Unchained deck, when you resolved Yama, that was what everything was all about. And Yannis is already kind of done with his Yubel combo, which is already looking quite strong. And we are now just also continuing with more.
Yama.
Okay. More Yama. We can't just stop with all of these Unchained Yamas.
So I feel like that is a bit of an unconventional choice to play 2 copies of Yama, but normally going into the solo box.
You were asking how many cards there are in the extra deck, but apparently we have enough space to play 2 Yama.
Yeah, okay. Shavara is down now, which means we are locked into Fiend, so no Apollosa as of just yet, so we're going to have to link him off at some point here before we go for that amazing, ridiculously strong rank 10 monster. The Varadras is absolutely a huge card in this matchup as well, because popping trap cards in the process of negating is super formidable.
In this matchup specifically, right? You really want to have Varudras against the Labyrinth deck, being able to negate something and then also destroying a card unresolved, not telegraphing which one you're going to destroy because it doesn't target for that additional effect, and that is actually just so good against the Labyrinth deck. But we aren't even done yet. There's Yubel, there's Spirit of Yule, both of them ready to be overlaid for Rudras, but still we're not done just yet.
And I really like... Oh, actually, I was just going to say, I really like how people started playing the Chamber of the Unchained to play on a little bit bigger of a combo with the Unchained Soul of Rage and summon it back to, you know, have an Appaloosa maybe extra. But now we have decided to play the Escape, which is basically just a pop.
Yeah, and
so
honestly, even better versus Labyrinth, right?
Yeah,
I think that works so much better.
Yeah, so I think the sort of debate there is when you play Chamber, it gives you a little bit of an extra layer of disruption versus Dark Ruler specifically. It just makes your deck a little bit more resilient against it, whereas the Escape here, a little bit more powerful and an extra disruption, but of course, you know, you do risk losing to Dark Ruler specifically. But in this specific instance, I don't think we're going to be seeing a Dark Ruler in a deck like Labyrinth, as play has passed over to Ty here as we set 1, 2.
But honestly, I think even against Dark Ruler, this would be alright.
Look, I love the eye contact here.
Only 4. That is a
Only 4.
lackluster Labyrinth combo. But Dusty, you were going to make a point how
I mean, because
also
Escape
plays
can
around
actually
it.
just destroy the Rage on the field,
Yeah.
and then you use Yama in the graveyard to bring it back, and then you're kind of playing around the Dark Ruler more still. So that would be the case, but we are, of course, not in danger of facing Dark Ruler more here against that deck in the first place.
But of the advantage of playing 2 Yama, I suppose, is where that kind of comes in here as we go into the end phase. And here it is, Escape.
All right, what are we getting? That's the question.
3, okay.
It is number 3, and
Middle column.
Tritai. Oh, is he going to consider picking up his cards entirely, or is he just going to reveal what that was?
Yes,
He's
does.
picking them all
Okay,
up!
wow.
Equalizer 1-on-1 Yannis with his Yubel deck, making sure to take this one to bring it into a final and third game.
He just got comboed back, basically, and this is one of the risks of playing the Labyrinth deck, you know? So if you basically lose the dice roll, or just even in game 2 after you won game 1, your opponent is probably going to just combo off without any kind of problem, even if you have Perulia against decks like Snake Eye or Yubel. Sometimes you just get 2 draws. You can only set 5 trap cards, you know that. So there is a problem going second. Sometimes these fields, they cannot be broken by just setting 5 traps, and your opponent is always going to get a full combo off.
Yeah, and I mean, you just saw the Eccentric there already in game number 2 coming in there, but there's so much stuff going on in his side deck. It's crazy. Like,
The Drone
first of all,
Lockbird, dude.
the Drone Lockbird is going to be so good against Labyrinth, obviously, but then he has one extra deck monster that he's deciding to side. It is Nightmare Phoenix, which already is getting us into the direction of playing against the back row deck, but the other stuff, the more surprising stuff even, I mean, you can already tell us about it, right? Nadir, what is it?
Yeah, so going second here, we've opted to play Cyframe Gear Delta as a negate for trap cards.
It's
I mean,
for spell cards. I just looked it
Oh,
up.
is it just
is
spell
Delta
cards?
spells?
Ooh,
Oh,
I think
Epsilon
that's-
is the trap card one. Okay.
So, I mean, okay, we can hit the pot cards, which is all right. Maybe a
Right,
card
I
of
see.
Demise, but
I wouldn't say
Yeah,
that.
okay. I guess it's specifically for a different type of matchup. But yeah, so setting 5, typically you would think a trap deck isn't so good going second. I think in this specific instance, with the Mulcharmy being negated and on top of that, specifically what must have been one of his best trap cards being hit. Typically, trap cards need to be utilized in combination with one another to deal with a big explosive turn 1 combo. And you know, there's plenty of tools that deal with it, like the Daruma Cannon, like the Simultaneous Equation. So activating all of these cards in tandem with one another is absolutely the name of the game here. But it looks like we are going to go to game number 3, of course, and our duelists are just about ready for this one. This is a nail biter here. We'll be back in just a moment.
I just know that you didn't want to give me this satisfaction of reading out the entire side deck, because there's also Cosmic Cyclone in there.
yes, we tried to prevent it, but yeah, Leo, your favorite card once again. Having another showing, and probably going to have a showing here in his main deck as well, as it's so good against cards like Skill Drain, Rivalry of the Warlords, and so on and so
To
forth.
be honest, I don't see rivalry.
Yeah, true. Would be a bit of a waste against that kind of a deck.
Fiend deck for sure. You know, I'm just gonna say, you are excited about Cosmic Cyclone. Please do understand that Ty is running Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, in his extra deck for the reveals of the Simultaneous Equation cannon. So in some heroic honorable mention, we have managed to find the Burning Abyss top. As we have
1, 2,
said
3, 4.
before.
Okay, we're back
And
to
Lord.
Trapped and Lord of the Heavenly Prison to protect against cards like Harpy's Feather Duster, of course, as well, because that is also another card that Yannis has in his deck.
Where is your removal now? There is not going to be a replay of the top 4 of last year's Euros.
There's a duster in his hand!
A duster,
Oh!
Wow, that is so good.
Let's see if he
Lord was
actually
there.
forgets that potentially. I don't know. No, there's no way. There's no way.
No.
There's no.
Oh.
Okay. Whew.
It looked
I was
like
worried
a spell
for a
card.
second.
It was a spell card, but it was not the Feather Duster.
Now, do bear in mind that Lord has the effect to protect all set cards on the field. Even monsters, by the way, that does occasionally come up. But your back row is protected from destruction, so Harpy's Feather Duster completely useless in this scenario. However, Lord will have to eventually come down at some point if Tai wants to get some potential follow-up, setting any normal spell or spell card from the deck. Now, you're going to want to use it as your last interaction for your back row once you've depleted all your back row to then restock. Then maybe the Duster will come up, but first and foremost, we need to try and deal with whatever these 4 are threatening us with here as we begin with Engraver.
Another interesting point is maybe that as soon as there's something like a skill drain or one of those continuous trap cards, those would be no longer protected by the Lord as they're not set anymore. And then the Harpy's Feather Duster could maybe in between come in to get rid of 1 or 2 of those continuous traps. We will see how this turns out.
It's a very good point, of course. Continuous traps, very powerful against Ubel, specifically skill drain. But there is potentially an answer for that, so we'll see just exactly what goes on there as we lead with our Fiendsmith combo.
Some decks, when you're trying to skill drain them, they still deal a lot of damage, you know, by having these big monsters. For Ubel, that's not really the case. All of them have 0 attack and 0 defense points.
They are big in level, and that's about it. So that is, I suppose, one of the weaknesses of Ubel is the inability to play under effect negation. Here's Lurie being discarded from track to then special summon itself to the field. Any response from Tai here? Nod of the head, okay.
Oh, he lets him commit into the field, and I, for myself, haven't seen the simultaneous equation cannon activated this weekend. So I'm really curious as to if it's going to come down at some point and completely end a turn.
I'm hoping for it.
I think the thing with simultaneous equation is that sometimes the levels are a little bit awkward. I think sometimes you specifically want to try hit a 7, but when the numbers are too high level with Ubel, or sometimes too low level, it might be that we can't quite get the math for it. So hopefully Tai has done a lot of homework on this specific matchup to see.
I can promise you he did.
Yeah. We shuffle back the Lurie to bring out Engraver from the graveyard, and we got 2 level 6s on the field. What are we trying to think about doing now?
So far, only 3 cards on Yannis' side of the field, and this is already a situation where you would say, hey, a mass removal card would be rather strong here. However, we're still waiting to respond to something. A Druma Karma Cannon could have also been very strong in that scenario. However, no normal summon has been committed so far, and Skill Drain is activated.
All right,
That is the continuous trap card we were looking at.
so we do have a Feather Duster in the hand. Lord will not protect the Skill Drain. We could commit to it now, but I think the most important thing is that Skill Drain kind of has acted like an imperm, if you want to think about it. Oh, okay, we're actually not going to deal with Skill Drain just yet.
Skill Drain still holds some value even if it gets removed immediately. It would be a 1-for-1 trade, plus you got the effect of the good old sequence.
That's not a great play here, unfortunately. Nightmare Pain only getting to destroy the Dark Beckoning Beast. Unfortunately, nothing like a Spirit of Ubel or an OG Ubel to trigger. So we are going to add Spirit here. And do we have any kind of follow-up from this point onwards? The sequence being negated by Skill Drain is absolutely huge.
And what's next?
Does Yannis know that the Heavenly only protects the face-down cards, or does he think that he has to play on here? We're going to special summon out the Spirit of Ubel, and I would think that you want to get rid of the Skill Drain before that.
Yeah,
look
no,
like
that feels like maybe he has misunderstood how Lord works, because yeah, you could just put the Duster down and hit that Skill Drain.
2,000 attack points?
2,000 attack points, the biggest monster Ubel can offer, really.
I mean, maybe also Yannis just tries to find better value for his Harpy's Feather Duster, because at some point, as we said, the Lord may activate its effect, and then it is possible that he gets another turn. Of course, the first game was very, very quick, and Tritai could really push in one turn to just end the first game so quickly. But that's not necessarily always the case for the Labyrinth deck. So maybe in the upcoming turn, in the next turn then, he could get more value out of the Feather Duster, maybe destroying 3, 4, 5 cards or something like that.
There is a card set already, and I think we're going to attack here for 2,000 damage. Didn't play around Malevolent Disaster. That is the old rule, that everyone is just setting their cards after the battle phase, or perhaps
You see, you tried to be really cute there naming that, but it's actually Malevolent Catastrophe.
Okay, fair enough.
Daruma Karma Cannon is going to set the Phantom of Jubel, making sure it can't negate anything anymore now in the end phase, and Yama is also going to be sent to the graveyard.
Resolution, will we use Lord here?
Yes.
We are indeed going to use Lord on the resolution of the Karma Cannon. Did we use the... this is the end phase, right?
Yeah,
this is the end phase. Okay,
indeed.
All right, super important here because that Duster will not be able to be used now, and Lord will be summoned to the field here. 3,000, huge amount of damage here as we set Big Welcome. So that's going to net us some engine, indicating that the other 2 cards might not be a way to access more Labyrinth cards, but could just be more disruption. We'll see.
And I think that also in the next turn, the Heavy Storm Duster, the Harpy's Feather Duster is not going to be too impactful, because you can just recycle a lot of the Heavenly Prison back to your hand with the Big Welcome Labyrinth. So we're in an endless loop of protecting the back row, summoning a big monster out.
Yeah, I think the only issue is I don't see a way for Labyrinth to end the game in this scenario, because normally what you do is you can go Big Welcome, bounce the Lord, re-summon the Lord, but then because there's a monster set on the field, due to the skill drain, we can't destroy it with Lovely. So I'm not sure if we can deal 8,000, so it might just be that Yannis will get another turn out of this.
So first of all, I think Tai tried to read the face-down Phantom of Jubel, then realized it is French, and that wouldn't help him a whole lot. And therefore, as we are here in a European tournament with plenty of nations clashing against each other, he will have a translation for that Phantom of Jubel, just completely making sure. Because of course, with a lot of the Jubel monsters, they do something when they are destroyed through card effect. With the Phantom of Jubel, though, it doesn't really profit off of that.
It has enough effects.
Yeah.
It can help you to destroy other evil monsters from the deck, which is also, it attributes for cost, so which is also very important that it's face down now with the Daruma Karma Cannon. This wasn't just a tool to get rid of the Yama and get the Lord of the Heavenly Prison out. We're checking our graveyard. Are we going to have some plays here, perhaps?
We could use the effect of Yama if we wish. Are we going to do that, though? That's the question.
The thing is, I'm not sure if it's worth it, because what's likely to happen next is the Big Welcome to summon Lady or Lovely, bounce the Lord, and then potentially resummon the Lord if we're trying to just get in as much damage. But I actually really like keeping the Lord in hand to then protect in main phase 2, potentially.
I mean, you don't know that your opponent has the Harpy's Feather Duster, but it has worked so well so far. I mean, the thing is that your opponent hasn't really given you the signal that it doesn't have the Harpy's Feather Duster, because you would think that he would activate it to get rid of the skill drain before going through 10 motions without activating any effects.
Potentially, yeah I agree.
All right, there it is, still in the battle phase. Yama is going to Trump Block for the Engraver, and then Big Welcome is now going to summon out Lady bouncing Lord. Now finishing off Engraver.
And that is another layer of interruption as well. The Big Welcome in the graveyard to possibly bounce a monster from the opponent or from your own side. The question is now, the big question, are you going to reveal
and Lord is revealed as well.
That's how we do it. And back over to Yannis it goes. Does he find an answer? Is he going to now preemptively go with the Harpy's Feather Duster to only destroy the skill drain? Or does he have another way to start things off here?
Things if you only destroy the skill drain, there is now a Lady on the field as well. The Lady is going to have an extra effect, is going to add more layers there, more resources for Tritai or interruptions in the next turn as well.
Yeah, that's the deadly thing about Labyrinth, because by this point, skill drain has kind of achieved what it needed to do, which is giving you that turn of setup with your sets. Now that everything is online with Lady locked and loaded, skill drain actually becomes a little bit redundant here. So even if we do 1-for-1 on that Duster, it's not really going to be that great still of a situation, because we have 3 more sets still to play through. It looks like we can go Engraver, Recycle to Summon. Still not doing anything Yubel related just yet.
We're
set monster.
And setting another card, and this looks like the turn is going to be passed after this, or are we contact fusing? I mean, we could do that from hand anyways, so that doesn't really make sense. We're passing over to Tritai. Are we going to go for more plays in the end phase on the side of Tritai? Another big welcome is being activated.
That's huge, because now we also would have the opportunity to summon out more monsters. We can trigger V-Lord. I think we can step by step maybe get to enough damage here. We get multiple monsters out with plenty of attack points.
Yeah, and resolution here, I wouldn't be surprised that we bring out the Lord. The protection no longer relevant or valid because it is now the end phase as we special summon out a lady, which is then we're adding and then revealing. First of all, the Lord. And Lord's going to be able to set anything that we need. And then we can then resummon the lady that we just bounced here. No lovely required under skill drain, just big 3,000 attackers, the big advantage of Labyrinth.
What's it gonna be? We haven't dealt any damage so far. We have the bounce for the big welcome in the graveyard. We're going to be able to have monsters with 9,000 attack on the field. We also have another big welcome. Is this the attempt for Tritai to go for a game and advance to top 32?
I think he's lining up for that. That is sure to be said. He has one way to deal with a monster in the graveyard with the big welcome Labyrinth, but he needs to deal with two monsters, of course.
He definitely can't do 8,000 this turn under skill drain, unfortunately, so we are just going to clear here.
Yes, big welcome. Could go for 6,000 and then... Oh no, he can't activate the second big welcome then if he bounces one.
I think he needed a welcome Labyrinth specifically in his back row, but apparently there wasn't any.
The question is, does he have a target for big welcome? Yeah, he definitely still has Lovely, surely.
And also just the third.
This actually should be enough, actually, because we're going to summon Lovely, bounce Lord, resummon Lord, right? This has to be enough.
This could work, for sure.
Oh, play 3
Third
lady. Summon Lord.
Lord back to the hand. Are we going to do it?
3 ladies and a rock. Is it time?
Ooh, no, we're attacking, so we're not going to commit just yet. I mean, we're feeling safe. We're in a good position. There's no need to rush. We are so far ahead, so we may as well take another turn. Now... we're going to set with the Lord, though, and pass it right back over.
We don't need OTKs. We just need trap cards. We want those trap cards to be safe. Yannis is there on possibly his last turn, facing 3 ladies of the Silver Castle.
Well, I mean, we did see 3 ladies get sphere moded earlier this weekend. Doubt that's going to happen in this situation.
What a picture, though, right? Those 3 ladies next to each other. I don't know whether that was the way intended. But we have Tritai taking it down with the Labyrinth deck, moving on to top 32, keeping the chance alive here for his ticket to the World Championship. He's on his way still.
And also, if I remember correctly, top 64 is the big one you want to win, because then you're getting a prize card after that in top 32, right?
Right, okay, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Hopefully we'll have some graphics to show you for top 32, including the deck breakdown. But yeah, there's some good stuff up for grabs this weekend, of course. We're looking for that World Championship spot, aren't we?
Absolutely. That is just the perfect start. Getting that first one out of the way, because the pressure building up in Top Cut is becoming so much more. Like, you have that top 64 final standings. You see, oh, yep, I made it in specifically for Tritai with an 8-3 record, not being sure to make it in, or 9-3 even. And then he has that good news. Okay, I am in. And from there on, of course, you gotta deliver. And he delivered, man. He delivered.
I mean, this could be a Marcello Barberi YCS winning story as well, who basically just got knocked in on the got locked in on the bubble and then won a tournament, and this is phenomenal for Tritai. I'm gonna say no bias here, absolutely no bias. Okay. However, the Germans haven't been doing too hot this weekend. We don't have too many of them in Top Cut. I was also checking the names over there. We didn't send one there on to the World Championships on Friday, as opposed to last year. We had multiple people. We had Jonas Kosche, we had Dinka Bui, we had Christian Thomas. Am I missing anyone? I don't think so, right?
Yoho
as well. Yoho, of course, and all of the Master Duel players. Yes. So we had 4 players in the TCG World Championships, and there is none so far. We are in Berlin, so maybe...
The UK does have one over you, I'm just saying, you know.
I know.
If you're trying to play numbers here, right?
I mean, we were the most represented nation going into the tournament, so it would be quite an upset not getting anyone through all the way up to top 4.
Zack, zack.
But yeah, we are at least off to a good start with Tritai having such a good showing there. I think he may as well be the only Labyrinth player in Top Cut. I don't think I saw too many overall.
So we were looking at the break. This is an unofficial reveal, I suppose, of sorts. But we were having a little look at the deck list for non-Snake Eye. There was at least like 3 or 4 Ritual Beast. There's 2 Memento, 1 or 2 Branded. And I think that's it from most of the non-Snake Eye decks that I can think of. Outside of Tenpai, there was like 10 plus Tenpai.
The Memento deck in top that was 64th, right? Was Richard Schaber that we have
made it
seen on
in.
the featured match.
And Vladis as well is also still battling it out in top 64. Joshua Schmidt.
Of course, but Runic Nation still going strong. Actually, there's, I think,
2
4 or
Runic
5
stuns.
Runics in total
Well,
as
how
well.
do you want to count Runic?
I mean, it's Runic. It's all Runic
Are we
at the end of the
separating
day.
it between the...
At least 2 White Forest.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right, at least
I
2
mean,
White Forests?
they're all in the
there's
same
some Amano
family.
Awatos in there, in some of these deck lists. I'm just saying. They are
Great
there.
card. Loved it in True Draco.
If you really want to see a Runic Amano Awato variant, please do let us know in the chat if you want to see that next. I'd be happy to provide that.
I mean, actually, that was yesterday one of the best featured matches we had of Benjamin versus Joshua Schmidt, the Amano Iwato Runic version. It just looked phenomenal to me.
Yeah, not every day you see a deck out, let alone 2 in one match. So.
To be honest, I think they see deck out a lot.
They definitely do see it, yeah. That's true.
That's very fair.
All right, we're just waiting for our players to get things together. Remember, we also have this incredible highlight reel for you to take a look at. So after the match, we have our player interview, and then, of course, next after that, we have the highlight reel featuring the player themselves having a one-on-one discussion with one of our analysts for this round. So hopefully, I think Tom or Alberto will be able to take you through the mind of a Labyrinth player and see just exactly what some of those niche little interactions were for that matchup. So it's been a great addition for the production of this event. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
Yeah. So what do you think is in the mind of a Labyrinth player? Do you think that you're building your deck and you're thinking, I love traps? Do you think while playing, hey, I love traps? Let's find out if Tritai loves traps. Let's go over to Ed.
I can safely say that he does love traps, having Ty here next to me, winning with that Labyrinth deck. Ty, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much. I'm pretty relieved because in Euros, as always, you have to win top 64 to get the prize card.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like, pretty chill, and then you can look forward for the next matches, and then you are more relaxed.
Now, we were just talking before we came on camera. You have got to top 32 at Euros 2022.
Yes.
Now, do you think you can go further than that in 2024?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you're feeling confident?
And I hope so, yeah. I'm feeling confident.
I think that's all we can ask for. So, you've just been up against a U-Bell deck, and actually your deck, especially with things like Skill Drain, really lends itself going up against that matchup.
Yep.
At what point were you starting to go, right, I've got this, I know what to do, I know how to work around this?
I mean, it's like the U-Bell matchup was like, we tested it a lot, and as long as you know the combo line and stuff like that, you know what to do and when to interact. And one thing the U-Bell doesn't do really much is if they do not have access to the Fiendsmith cards, they cannot really OTK you, so you can chill. And with the Flacket, you can chill more, even. So this is why I did game 3. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're worried about going up against in the rest of the top 32?
As long as it's meta decks, it's fine. If it's... I don't want to play against Joshua decks.
No?
No, he plays evenly main deck and stuff like that in main deck, so I can... It's a struggle.
I mean, it's definitely going to be that last bit of stretch, but you're in the top 32. That's very exciting.
Yep.
Do you have advice for people at home who want to be just like you, Ty? They want to reach top 32 of their own European Championship one day. How would you advise them to do that?
Just play a lot and see your mistakes, if you make mistakes. Yep.
Always good advice. Right, I'm going to allow you to go over there and join Tom. Thank you for chatting to me. And these two are going to have a nice little chat about all of the details that have happened over there. But for now, we are going to basically resume what we've been doing for this entire show, which is where we go through and have a little bit of a play-by-play with one of our casters, with the person who you've just seen dueling, so that you can hear from the brain of the duelist themselves exactly what they were thinking in those moments. Tom, over to you.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, so as I said, I'm here with Ty. Ty, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
So, 3 games back and forth. You won the first game, so should we have a little look at the first clip we got from the first game?
Yep.
So, I mean, here's the time. You chose to activate this Daruma cannon here. So, you said you practiced a lot with the matchup. How do you know when to activate your interruptions?
I mean, at this point, if he gets the effect of I don't even know the name, but the effect of this one, he gets into the combo like safely, and I didn't have like any floodgates, I think, which is why I wanted to prevent that. And with Daruma, he needs to set the monsters. He doesn't get into the graveyard. Yeah, and I think
So, I mean, as you can see there, it looked like he just passed the turn, so that's what happened, right? And then you had the 2 copies of the, well, one welcome and one big welcome. So how do you choose which one, for example, to activate first? What goes through your mind there?
Is there a big welcome?
Oh, was that? It looked like
There was a welcome and a strike.
Oh, it was welcome in the strike. It's too shiny for me.
Yeah.
So, all right, so on to game 2. I mean, that game looked very routine, game 1 for you, right? I mean, I don't know if you agree. So
Yes.
you flipped your 1 Daruma cannon, and then you had the strike, protect. So in game 2, you were going second. Do you have anything to stop your opponent going second, or do you rely on all of your traps?
I play 3 copies of Dimension Shifter, which doesn't totally stop him, but it weakens enough that he can't make Desiree with the Fiendsmith stuff. And the Mochami, which, if he wants to make a good board, he has to commit a lot. But yeah, Ashford.
So, I mean, you got the Mold Charmy there. Do you like that card as a side deck card against a lot of different decks?
I said it in a lot of times. I drew it 2 times, and it never resolved, really.
So, I mean, to be fair, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is the kind of card that's going to be super powerful against you, kind of no matter what, because you need to resolve a welcome or a big welcome. Are you kind of happy if it gets hit, or you'd rather they just didn't have it at all, but...
I mean, it depends on the hand. If I have a hand like with 4 trap cards or 5 trap cards, I'm pretty fine with it. If I do not, then it's like tiring.
Sure. And when you see your opponent here, they're comboing off, do you think... What are you afraid of seeing? What are you afraid of them doing with the Yubel deck?
That he ends on with the XYZ monster he ended on with, and the fusion Fiendsmith monster, the Desiree. The fusion monster.
Yeah, so obviously those are the most powerful cards, because I guess you're not too worried about monster negates, just the cards that can interact with trap cards, as you say, the Desiree and the rank 10, which can negate a monster effect. So, or a trap even. So on to game 3. Let's have a little look. So, I mean, to me, the thing it kind of centered around was the fact that you had this Lord of the Heavenly Prison. It's just off shot here. I mean, I don't know if you know, but your opponent did actually have the Harpy's Feather Duster in hand. Did they?
I didn't know. I just saw it afterwards.
Yeah, so you're just playing around it here. You didn't want to risk it. So, I mean, how do you think? So this is the end phase here. You summon the Lord of the Heavenly Prison, right? So there's no chance to be hit by the Harpy's Feather Duster.
Yep.
So is this something you sort of choose to play around, or would you summon it ever? Would you ever take the risk?
I especially choose it to do it at this time because I know in the end phase you cannot duster me, and I know the big welcome will resolve because I have a strike set, which means I cannot even get by Ash Blossom, and then the Lord just gets back into my hand, which means I can still activate it. And as you saw in the feature match, I'm always looping it. And with the big welcome, I have an interruption more, and I can feel safe with the strikes.
Yeah, that's super cool. Like, it's a nice little loop you can do there. Yep. So, I mean, the only kind of other point I wanted to talk about maybe is just a couple of turns later. So you're attacking your opponent. You look like you're very much in control here. And it looked like you took kind of maybe a slower line. So did you think you might have been able to push for game on that turn? Or did you decide, you just thought not possible?
It's not possible. I mean, on skill run, he has to summon like 2 or 3 Yubel monsters, which I was pretty confident he didn't have. And even if he went to the battle phase and attacked my monster, I could bounce with Overcome the Nightmare Pain. So I prevent the damage.
No, I was wondering, do you think you could have won the game on this turn here?
Probably not. No.
But I mean, I guess you don't need to, right? You have all the protection in the world. There's no cards you might be thinking, well, if he draws this, I'm in trouble or anything like that. You just think, I'm chill.
I mean, after we passed turn 1, I felt like, well, the Yubel deck is well known for playing evenly matched, and after we passed turn 1, he had like a lot of cards on field, so I wasn't worried about that. And it worked out really well.
So yeah, there's not really anything else you're afraid of with the...
Nah, because Duster you can activate on Skeleton is fine because I still have 3 back rows which are still alive. As well as Cosmic Cyclone is also just trades 1 for 1. And yeah.
So overall it looked like a pretty dominant win for you. Do you feel like this is a good matchup, or do you feel like it's can go 50-50 depending on who goes first?
Yeah, the deck is built for the meta decks, like Snake Eyes and Yubel, and I felt like also going second is also a really good there's a really good chance to win. And after siding, it's like much more achievable.
Yeah, well, thanks for giving us these extra insights, and congratulations on being into the top 32. So now we're going to send it back over to Ed before we continue with more live content.